The reopening of Florida's economy is, as you know, underway everywhere except in Miami-Dade and Broward counties, the epicenter of the outbreak.
More than a third of the state's cases, maybe more at this point, are right here. The metrics seem to be trending in the right direction. And so a target date for reopening is May 18th. And about that, there is for sure some debate. Dr. Aileen Marty is back with us. She's an infectious disease specialist at Florida International University. Dr. Marty, welcome back. Great to see you.
Welcome back, Glenda, and happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
Same to you. So give us some scientific perspective on opening South Florida in 8 days.
Well, first of all, the mayor of Miami-Dade County, Mr. Jimenez, has been very, very cautious, and he has tried to apply as much science as possible. In fact, there was a meeting that we held just yesterday with Dr. Abo, Dr. Pereira, Dr. Velata, which is part of the Department of Health, to go over all the details of exactly how we plan to open. And there's a lot of things that have been taken into consideration, not the least of which is the fact of where we are in this outbreak as a country and as a state, and in particular our county.
So there are new efforts and ramped up efforts for what they're calling this antibody testing, which is that blood test, just for people who aren't so up on this, blood test that lets you know whether you, not if you have it now, but whether you have had COVID-19 by showing that your body has these antibodies to fight it, which by all accounts, and you I think were the first to share this with us, allows us to see where the spread really is occurring, an accurate picture. However, we have heard so much about whether or not these positives have come up false positives or negatives, a false return. And I wonder if you could speak to that concern, because if there is no faith in the results, there can't be an accurate picture, obviously.
So you're correct that there is a small percentage of false positives and false negatives, particularly with the first few antibody tests that became available. Over the last couple of weeks, better and better quality antibody tests are developed, and now we have some that are very, very specific. And by that we mean that you're not going to be seeing these false positives. The only thing that seems to cross-react, in other words, cause a false positive, is the original SARS virus, which of course is extremely similar to the current SARS-2 virus that causes COVID-19, and that's not circulating. So the tests are getting better, and that's an important point. The other thing is that regarding these antibody tests, they do now indicate if you have been exposed to the virus and have produced antibodies to it. But it doesn't guarantee still that you are completely immune to the virus, nor does it necessarily say that if you are immune, how long that immunity is going to last. That's going to take time to figure out.
Yeah. Dr. Marty, you have been a strong advocate in the last several months, and I guess in your career, of getting good data, of letting science drive political and public policy decisions. Over the last couple of weeks, the media have been at sort of sword's point with the governor's office and the State Department of Health, because they have been reluctant to make public information about COVID-19 deaths, particularly in ALFs and nursing homes. They, in fact, instructed the state's medical examiners not to release additional public information about how people have died, about their health histories. I mean, that's not in the best interest of science. We're trying to solve this riddle, is it?
No, that wouldn't be in the best interest of science at all.
That's a nice short broadcast.
There you go.
Dr. Marty, I don't know if you were able to hear our last interview with this barber in Miramar who was taking precautions, has opened up and has closed. And he was making the point that with the closures now in Dade and Broward County, and with so many business people really wanting to do business for their own financial well-being, that people aren't doing the right thing necessarily. And I wonder if you would weigh in. We've seen South Point Park in Miami Beach open only to close again because people weren't doing the right thing. What are your concerns as we reopen with rules in place and for good reasons, that personal responsibility factor just won't be there?
Well, thank you very much, Glenda, for bringing that up, because fundamentally we need to reopen our economy, but we need to do it safely. And that's why it's so important for the media, programs like yours, to bring to the public's attention that we're going to be using science to try and minimize the risk as we permit some opening up. We have to understand that the United States is still in the plateau phase. We're the only country that's attempting to open up our economy to some degree without having a drop in cases. And if you look around at the world right now and look at those countries that have had a tremendous drop in cases and began to open up, we see example after example of new clusters. So we have to be excruciatingly careful. And this business of personal responsibility is absolutely fundamental. Mayor Jimenez, for example, doesn't want to have to use coercive force, doesn't want to have to fine individuals. He and I and everyone else would prefer for everyone to try and understand that we're going to have a lot of restrictions in how we open up. But if we are all good-hearted about it and adhere to what these restrictions are, then we can have an opened up economy to a degree and slowly get back to where we want to be. But that personal responsibility is absolutely fundamental.
Yeah. Dr. Aileen Marty, we always appreciate your expertise and your willingness to join us here. We appreciate it. The community appreciates it too. Thanks very much.
Pleasure.